The world outside was far more vast than she had imagined. Upon emerging from the box, the space Firis saw for the first time overwhelmed her, filled with new stimuli that saturated her senses. A cold, metallic floor stretched on endlessly, extending so far that the walls were no longer visible. Light seeped in from the ceiling, as though countless eyes were peering down at her. Where am I? Though cautious, Firis observed her surroundings. Every sound, every scent, every breeze, it was all new, as though an unknown world was calling out to her. At the same time, however, the potential dangers lurking in this outside world kept her on guard. There were observers, unseen presences, somewhere watching her. Before long, Firis picked up a faint sound. It was neither a clank of metal nor a mechanical hum, but something softer, gentler, the voice of a living creature. Carefully, she started walking toward the source of the sound. With each step of her paw pads on the floor, the sound grew slightly closer. Finally, she laid eyes on the owner of the voice, a small bird. Its black feathers glimmered with a blue sheen, and it sat on the floor, dragging its injured wing. Firis stopped in her tracks for a moment. She was startled by the sight of the bird, but even more so by the strange emotions its presence stirred within her. "Are you all right?" Firis whispered in her heart, knowing the bird couldn't actually hear her. Still, she approached it. The bird opened its eyes wide once, but did not flee. Instead, it held her gaze, watching her every move. In its eyes, she saw fear, and yet there was something like hope as well. Firis gently inched closer and lowered herself to the floor. The bird feebly moved its wing and let out a low cry. Though tinged with pain, the sound carried a certain reassuring warmth. Firis sat there for a while, simply watching the bird. She felt there was nothing she could do, yet at the same time she sensed something. She was meant to stay by its side. What happened here? She knew the bird wouldn't reply, yet in that silence, Firis sensed something. The very fact that these two beings had met seemed significant in and of itself. Soon, a mechanical noise resounded from afar, a low scraping of metal that steadily drew nearer. To Firis, it was an unmistakable sign of danger. Perhaps the observers were closing in on her, or maybe another unknown threat approached. She had no way of knowing. Seeing the bird tremble slightly, Firis made up her mind. She had to protect it. She couldn't allow this encounter to become meaningless. "It's all right. I'll stay with you." She pressed herself close to the bird, standing up despite her own fear. As the mechanical noise drew near, she felt something stirring within her, not just fear, but a sense of purpose in protecting something. That realization was gradually becoming a new source of strength in her. The mechanical noise ceased after she and the bird began moving again. Determined to lead the bird to a safe place, Firis continued walking toward the light, all the while feeling the observer's gaze. She didn't let it stop her. Before long, the bird began moving its injured wing little by little. That small effort shone like a ray of hope for Firis. She realized for the first time that one does not merely exist to be observed. By forging connections, one could transform oneself. We can move forward together. With that thought, Firis began walking a new path alongside the bird, evolving from a being that was simply observed to one who takes action, and now to one who forms bonds. She felt the first step toward a new future had already begun within her.